Social media and video sharing platforms such as this one are a great way for like-minded people to come together. Birds of a feather and all that. The downside, as far as I can see it, is it's easy to get swept up in your very own echo chamber, reinforcing your beliefs, further distancing yourself from people with differing viewpoints. Our state broadcaster is a good example of the consequences of this. Once the bastion of good and true information with wholesome life messages, with world-class educational content, which I enjoyed thoroughly growing up. It's now transformed into a left-wing woke disaster zone, peddling government propaganda and shoving disastrous political dogma down the throats of our children and the masses. The reason for this is clear. Our educational institutions are now left-wing ideological conveyor belts, churning out a generation of fragile, delicate little wallflowers who jump at their own shadows, building an insurmountable proverbial brick wall, crippling their reductive reasoning and critical thinking. Acting like brainwashed automatons, they now dominate the halls of this license fee-funded institution, generating a vicious circle of hiring the like-minded and firing those who have opposing viewpoints. Woe betide any middle-aged straight white male still working at this place, or indeed any white male trying to get a job there. It seems very few people on the left are interested in hearing any viewpoints challenging their own. I do the best I can. I try and listen to other people's opinions, but it's now getting to a point where the left is going so far to the left that it's beginning to scare me. And I'm finding it increasingly hard to listen to them, let alone empathise with them in any meaningful way. Now, if you're watching this, there's an extraordinarily good chance you and I have similar views on life and liberty. And for that, I love you very much. The algorithms are very good at matchmaking. But this video isn't really meant for you, no offence. It's meant as a sort of olive branch, a bridge building exercise between those of us like me who choose not to get the vaccination and those who do. What's different is that this isn't a left and right thing. The vaccination debate straddles both sides of the aisle, and a crack is now forming in society. A crack that if we don't do something about will become a rift and then a gulf. If history has taught us anything, is that we can't let this continue. The consequences, quite frankly, don't bear thinking about. So, if you're a fellow unvaccinated, please share this video and encourage the vaccinated to watch it. We need to start the healing process right now. If you're vaccinated, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, really. I suspect you're here to see just how crazy someone has to be to refuse a free vaccination protecting you against a deadly disease. Trust me, I've wrestled with this question for a good amount of time, but not anymore. I get it. We all have a duty to society to make it a better place, to protect loved ones, to do no harm. I would take a bullet for my family, as I'm sure you would do too. I would never put them in harm's way. 18 months ago, I suspect you and I would never have met. We wouldn't need to. You led your life and I led mine, with both of us content in letting people get on with theirs. But circumstances have brought us together, and I'm hoping for good reasons, to show you that we're really just the same except over one single decision. But we both still care very deeply about our nearest and dearest and our community as a whole. Nothing else is different. Nothing. So, you've taken the vaccination. And in the words of the great Tommy Lee Jones, and the nicest possible way,
I don't care!
I think that's the biggest difference between the two sides, if I dare call them that. The vaccinators seem to be aghast that the unvaccinated haven't taken the jab. and the unvaccinated don't care if you have or haven't. Now, I'm going to set out what I think you think about the unvaccinated. We listen to too much misinformation on the alternative media. We're conspiracy theorists. We're putting other people's lives at risk. We're causing the mutant strains to develop. We're causing the lockdown to continue. We're selfish. We're stupid. We should be locked down so the rest can go free. We should be fined until we take the jab. We should be forced to take the jab. Did I get some of those right? Or maybe all of them? Have I missed some? Well, obviously I'm going to disagree with every single one of those points, but that isn't the reason for this video. There is really only one big difference now between you and I. Liberty. It really isn't about the jab anymore, at least not for me. It's about freedom. This isn't hyperbole. Right before our very eyes, our rights and freedoms are being stripped away from us. And if you don't see that, you really need to read your history, sit up and start paying attention. No unvaccinated person wishes harm on others. What kind of evil is that? But there is no data, none whatsoever, that my decision to remain unvaccinated affects you in any way. But it should remain my choice to stay unvaccinated, just as it was your choice to be vaccinated. And there shouldn't be any social consequences to that decision. As soon as we go down the path of mandatory medical procedures, it's a fast and slippery slope to societal Armageddon. Don't think for a moment our governments will stop there, once they see how easy it is to manipulate us. They do not have our best interests at heart. As the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I'm not going to try and convince you that taking the vaccinations were a wrong thing to do. History will make that decision for us. Each one of us made a journey during this pandemic. The unvaccinated just took a slightly different path based on a different data set, that's all. We just chose to peek under the surface of the mainstream narrative and didn't like what we saw. We checked the data, we rechecked it, we listened to professionals who told a different story, and the weight of that information tipped the scales towards the skeptical. But I still love you, my vaccinated friend. I would like nothing more than to give you a great big hug and show you that no, you won't burst into flames if I do that, or that the earth will stop spinning, or the sun will implode. We're not evil monsters destined for the gulags. Quite the opposite. I think you'll find that us unvaccinated are some of the kindest, most lovable souls on this wondrous planet. Don't be afraid of us. There's nothing to be afraid of. If the vaccination works, then it doesn't matter if you meet vaccinated or unvaccinated individuals. If it doesn't work, then you and I are in exactly the same boat anyway. We're both somebody's son or daughter, wife or husband, brother or sister. We all just want to do the best we can for ourselves, our friends, our families, our communities. We sweat the same sweat. We bleed the same blood. We cry the same tears. And we smile the same smile. Thanks for watching.